All right, today we're jumping into the incredible physics of the nanite smuggler. And this is a universe that wasn't born from some random big bang. Nope. This place was built from a blueprint. It was engineered on purpose. So let's kick things off with a pretty wild question. What if our universe, the one we're in right now, wasn't some happy accident? What if its rules were designed, kind of like a cosmic operating system with very specific features? And what if, just maybe, the designers left a few loopholes, a few back doors open? Well, because this universe was engineered, you get this incredible concept called a reality chain. So history isn't just one straight line. Oh no, it's more like a series of completely different, totally stable realities all stacked on top of each other. And the story is super clear about this. This is not magic. It's all just a result of how the universe was physically put together. So let's go check out that blueprint. Okay, first things first. We have to understand the basic blueprint of this place. How is it all structured? So it all boils down to something the story calls the dimensional structure. Now, what that means is it's all about how the universe's nine spatial dimensions are set up. They're not just all mixed together in a big mess, they're neatly organized into three totally separate physical domains. And yeah, you heard that right, 9. That is the magic number here, not the three spatial dimensions we know and love. In this universe, it's 9. And honestly, that one number is the key to understanding, well, pretty much everything else we're going to talk about. Okay, so those 9 dimensions, they're grouped into 3 different domains. Think of them as separate layers of reality. First up, you've got the hadronic domain. That's us. That's our familiar, everyday world of stars, planets, you, me, everything. But if you go smaller, things get really weird. You hit the hadron domain, which is a reality on the femtoscale. And then, smaller still, you get the hadronic domain, which is operating at a sub-femtoscale level. We're talking unbelievably tiny. And having a structure like this, it changes everything. See, each domain has its own set of core particles, its own unique building blocks. So in our hadron domain, we're made of hadrons, particles we'd recognize. But in the Harion domain, everything is made from haryons. And that allows for things like femtobots and these artificial life forms called the Fari. Then you go even deeper to the cedron domain, where everything is built from cedrons, and that's where you find microscopic zeptites and these beings called the Bumpha. Different physics, different life. So, how in the world did this crazy layered universe even happen? Well, like we said at the start, it was no accident. This whole reality was engineered, and its entire history is basically encoded right into the laws of physics. Yeah, the story is very direct about this. The universe we see is totally artificial. It was shaped by this ancient, almost godlike race called the Huashi. They were cosmic architects, and they literally rewrote the fundamental laws of physics. And they didn't just do it once, they did it twice. So here's the quick history. Originally, the universe was in this very simple, stable ground state. Then the Huoshi came in and made their first big change, which allowed for awesome stuff like faster-than-light travel. But that new tech led to a totally catastrophic time travel war. So to put a stop to it, they had to make a second, much bigger change. They created what's called the final reality by basically severing our domain and the Hyriean domain from the ability to travel through time. And this diagram from the source material just lays it out perfectly. Look, at the top, you've got that clean, simple ground state. Then the first change happens and you get this transitional universe. And finally, after the second change, you end up with our universe at the bottom. That's the one the characters are living in. Each of these steps was a deliberate, massive re-engineering of reality itself. Okay, so we've got the architecture down. Now let's talk about who, or what, actually lives there. What kind of life and tech can you even have in these other physical domains? Well, naturally, the technology is built from the native particles of each domain. So you have femtobots, which are these sub-nanoscale machines made from Hytrion particles. But then you have zeptites, which are made from Cedron particles, and they are about 1,000,000 times smaller than a femtobot. I mean, that's a scale that's it's almost impossible to even wrap your head around. And of course, this kind of extreme nanotechnology leads to totally new kinds of life. The Hyrieon domain is home to the Fari. They're artificial beings made up of those femtobots, and they are masters of teleportation. But in the Cedron domain, you've got the Bumpha, a race of beings that use that unbelievably tiny, almost undetectable zeptite technology. There's a quote from the source that just sums this up perfectly.
It really drives home the point that we are talking about life that exists on a physical level so far beyond ours that we can barely even tell it's there. And this brings us right back to the beginning. We've got this universe that was specifically designed to stop time travel. So where's that loophole we mentioned?
The loophole has a name, the Cedron time stream. And what it is basically a data storage system that's literally woven into the fabric of that tiniest Cedron domain. And its one crucial feature, it lets information travel from the future back to the past.
So here's the punchline. When the Hawashi made that second big change to stop the time travel war, their fix wasn't perfect. Think of it like a software patch. It successfully firewalled our Hadron domain and the Hyrion domain from time travel. But the patch didn't quite take for the Cedron domain. It created a physical bypass. It's literally a backdoor in the laws of physics that was left over from a botched cosmic update. So in the end, you have this incredibly complex, beautifully designed universe that is really defined by one single critical flaw. It's a world built on rock-solid rules, but the entire story is driven by one-timey, exploitable exception, which kind of leaves us with one final thing to think about. If you found a backdoor, a loophole in the source code of our reality, what would you do?